Utatu Ramaphosa ulichule. He's very good at speaking, number one, particularly because he knows ukuba the people that are there, particularly in the media space, do not interrogate what he's saying now versus what he said in the past. For example, he spoke about social contract as if it's a new thing. He spoke about it in 2019. He spoke about inclusive growth. So he speaks about all of these big themes, these big words, as if it is something that is new, because he knows that people are not going to interrogate whether, when he spoke about it in the past, was there any material difference in terms of the lives of the people, because the results are there to show that unemployment is increasing, poverty is increasing, inequality is widening, and practically people are not enjoying their lives in South Africa. So in our view as the ATM, uthethile utata ewe, but akho nto ayithethileyo.
So in other words, you are saying that the promises he made in the previous administration, he never met?
Yeah, he spoke about a bullet train, for example. There's no bullet train. He spoke about a smart city. There's no smart city. He spoke about creating jobs. Unemployment is going up. So what he knows is that, yes, he's going to speak, make promises, but he knows that majority of journalists are not going to interrogate what he's promising versus what he had promised before. Remember, he started making sonars in 2018, beginning of the year in 2018. We are now 6 years or 7 years later, and I think this is his 8th sonar that was presenting today. However, look at the lives of South Africans from the time he came on as president versus now, from the context of unemployment, poverty, the cost of living. You can clearly see that under his leadership, South Africa is failing. So he knows very well ukuba akazuhlalutya ukuba lento ayithethayo ingaba ibambekile. Now that is why enjoya uthetha jonga namhlanje udathetha ngotata uMandela as if abantu batya utata uMandela. Abantu abazutya tata uMandela because akakho utata. But he uses the legacy katata uMandela as a means of ukusithela abantu, so that abantu bacifama all is well, whereas not all is well.
Thank you very much.
This address by the President, Mr. Mackenzie, just your response from the President?
One of the best speeches by President Cyrill Ramaphosa. Very pragmatic, very futuristic. And what I like the most is that he acknowledged where we lack as government. Like, for instance, in the metros, like in local government. But he's also given us how is he going to fix that. This is one of the best speeches by the President. The GNU is going to fly. We are that weaver bird that he spoke about. And I can tell you, we got our ducks in a row. And when he said that South Africa is going to look, you're going to see yellow plant everywhere. It's going to look like a construction site. I nearly stood up and clapped, and I'm very excited.
Is this journey going to last? The EFF says it's going to last a year, maximum 2 years?
The EFF said they are the government in waiting. For 5 years, they've been telling us they are government in waiting. They are still waiting. I'm even a minister today. So the EFF is not an indicator of what's going to happen in the future. The EFF wish this GNU is going to last. This GNU is going to last. We are going to work. We're going to build South Africa. We can't take the EFF serious now talking about the GNU. How do they know the GNU is not going to last? They're an outside. They don't know how we smile inside. They don't know how we deal with our issues inside.
How do you deal with the issues inside on political divergence?
Very, very respectfully. And we have taken a posture of we are going to where we differ. We go for consensus. So you can't have there's a contestation of ideas. You can't have all your ideas being accepted. Mina, I want abahambe. If it was up to me, abahambe, but I have to be realistic and accept that I didn't get 50+1. So I have to listen to other views there, not losing my view. But democracy should prevail, even in contestation of ideas.
So from abahambe to abahlali?
I will never leave abahambe. Abahambe, abahlale, abajima, aba everything.
Well, this was a waste of state resources because there was nothing new that the president had said. Actually, he's always coming with a new identity of his office. Just in February, we were in Swallows. Today is a different thing altogether. It's very clear that the president has got no plan to transform South Africa for the better. Nothing about international relations, because that is a point of disagreement for this GNU. Nothing about the judiciary and nothing about the land. He can't concretely say This is the amount of hectares we are going to give to our people. A pure lie that he created 2 million jobs, which we have never seen as the people of South Africa. So he spoke to us in February. He comes, speaks to us on the same useless things that he's non-committal. If you look at that parliament today, the happiest people is white people in that parliament. The happiest people is the DA, because it's the biggest winner out of this GNU sellout government. President Ramaphosa has once more sold out South Africa like he did in 1994 when he did not attend Nelson Mandela's inauguration, which today he speaks very highly of him for opportunistic reasons. So we as the EFF are going to consolidate the progressive forces in this parliament and make sure that we hold this government accountable. We give this government just a year, and if it doesn't collapse within a year, it will not go beyond 2 years. We can guarantee South Africans a progressive government is coming in, which will transform the land, nationalize the banks, and ensure that there is enough jobs for all our people and fight poverty.
One of the key issues of the EFF manifesto when it comes to the beneficiation of the minerals of the country was touched upon. What is your view on the beneficiation of the minerals as exposed to exporting road dust and our minerals unbeneficiated?
He has spoken about beneficiation since 2017, when the ANC agreed to nationalize the Reserve Bank and ensured that the people of South Africa benefit from the minerals of our country. It's not for the first time he speaks about beneficiation. He is not going to be a part of people who are going to initiate beneficiation in South Africa, because exporting is to the benefit of his masters, and therefore he will never support a beneficiation in the country. He's just speaking about it because he has been president for the past 5 years. He has been deputy president for the past 10 years. Why hasn't he beneficiated in South Africa? Today, he's telling us about a solar plant that has given us 250 megawatts. But just recently, we have just received 800 megawatts from Eskom. And why is he not speaking about what our own state company is able to give us, but instead wants to promote the independent power producers at the expense of Eskom? So you can see that the man that is not for the state. The man is for the private sector. The man is for multinational companies. But what makes me happy is that you can see that is a wounded buffalo. We told you South Africa will eat this elephant piece by piece, and you saw it for yourself today. That confidence and that arrogance of February has gone through the window. And today, the man speaks like a man who has got no confidence and belief in what he's talking about. I won't be shocked tomorrow if I'm told that that speech was written by Helen Zille, because the DA kept on clapping until the last full stop.
On the issue of the formation of the state-owned holdings company, basically replacing Department of Public Enterprises, I know that your Treasurer General, Ompilo Moate, also the MP, has spoken extensively about public enterprises. Just on the state holdings company?
Well, they have collapsed the state-owned enterprises, and therefore they can't be telling us they are going to establish this or that after they've collapsed the state-owned enterprises. They create a problem and then come to us and say we'll solve the problem after creating the problem. We must first strengthen our own state-owned enterprises. If we want to grow the economy, if we want to create jobs, there is no economic development and any developmental state that is led by a private sector. It must be a state-led economic development.
You said you'll defend the ANC in Gauteng. I know Herman Mashaba has been negotiating with Panyaza Lesufi, Tadam Morero and TK Ngiza. Will you also be forming part in that particular arrangement on the reconstitution of the metros in Gauteng?
They can go ahead. We don't have any kind of arrangement with the Action SA or anyone of that sort. We don't have an arrangement with the ANC. We're saying to you, if the ANC comes and the DA wants to oppose them, we'll defend the ANC in Gauteng because of the stance they took. That was a brave stand. That was an act of defiance to this nonsensical neoliberal coalition led by the DA. This is not led by the ANC. Helen Zille is the crafter of everything that is happening here. So Gauteng said we are not going to be Makabane ka Helen Zille, and therefore refused that. and will support them because that is a brave move. The ANC should have opted for minority government if it did not want to work with progressive forces. Instead, they decided to go in bed with reactionary forces who still have blood of our people on their hands.
Thank you very much, Mushabi. We shall meet on
I am very satisfied as the leader of the IFP because the president, he laid out the roadmap which emanates from our discussion in the Cabinet Lekgotla. The IFP joined the Government of National Unity because we're hitting the call. People of South Africa said, you must work together. And when we joined the Government of National Unity, we made a commitment that we want to take our country forward. The president actually responded to that and called and consolidated our coming together that in the 7th administration, we must press a reset button. We must make a turning point in the history of our country in ensuring maximum development and change in how things are done in delivering services to our people. And he mentioned something very critical. If you want to see a meaningful development, there must be stability in the local government sphere. This also talks well to me as a minister of COGTA that every development will occur if there is stability in local government level. The conducive environment for investors, if local government is stable, the municipalities will be able to deliver services, they will be able to fix roads that are damaged with potholes. If the local government is stable, the foreign investors and business people will find courage to invest in our country and people will see a meaningful change. I want to make a commitment that as IFP, we will be working together in the Government of National Unity to bring change.
It means then that you have a difficult task ahead, as some of the municipalities we have seen coalitions not being stable. If the backbone of the economy is the municipalities where there must be stability, what are you going to do to bring stability, especially in those municipalities that are unstable due to coalition governments?
What is very good, there is one voice about ensuring stability. The 10 political parties in the Government of National Unity will filter down that working spirit, that attitude to all municipalities that are under coalition government, and we will be giving every support to struggling municipalities financially, administratively, to ensure that they showcase to bring change during the 7th administration at a provincial and national government level.
Well, I think that what you've got is a government of national unity, and what was expressed this evening is a synthesis of what we want to do to rescue South Africa and to get our country onto a better trajectory. So yes, there were elements there that the DA has been calling for, things like expanding the VAT-free basket of goods, the deregulation of the fuel levy, turning South Africa into a construction site. These are all sort of things that the DA has been talking about for a while. And this is what you're going to see, and this is why we've gone into government, because we want to be part of building South Africa. It's very obvious now that we have a parliament with one side, people have come together to build. The president used the analogy this evening of the weaver birds working and cooperating together. And you've got on the other side those who want to break. They want to destroy the Constitution. They want to destroy our democratic institutions. They want to destroy the rule of law in the country. And that is the juxtaposition that now sits in our parliament. The DA has chosen deliberately to be on the side of the builders in the country because we believe that the voters in the last election didn't give any party a majority. And they did that for a reason. They said, we want you to cooperate, to work together in our interests, not in petty partisan interests, but in our interests. Our country faces enormous challenges. There's a huge task ahead of us. difficulties. But we know that we've overcome many difficulties in the past, but we've only overcome those when we've come together as a nation.
The plans for job creation and growing the economy, will they take us far enough in terms of making a dent in the high levels of unemployment?
Well, absolutely, because you've got to grow the economy to create jobs. The growing economy is the rising tide that lifts all boats. And each of our departments are now going to have to focus on how do we maximize job creation. I see agriculture as a huge opportunity to absorb large amounts of unskilled South Africans who are unemployed, agro-processing as well. And we need to turn each of our ministries into engine rooms of economic growth and job creation. I believe that the investment and the confidence now of the markets in South Africa, that we've averted a doomsday scenario and now have a government of national unity that's working together and cooperating with common purpose, has given the markets confidence that we are open for investment, we're serious about business, and we're pushing our reform agenda now into top gear so we can start to see the real impact on the ground amongst our citizens.
Thank you so much.
Well, the starting point is to say President Ramaphosa is let me put it this way, he is a sophisticated liar, right? And who can lie with a very straight face. He knows no bounds when it comes to lying. The suggestion that his government has created more than 2 million jobs, well, all South Africans, we know that is a lie. And I fail to see on what conceivable grounds he can justify the GNU in circumstances where there is no crisis in the country to begin with. The GNU was a deliberate and desperate attempt by the ANC of Ramaphosa to retain power. That's what it's all about. And everybody is excited because of the Blue Lights Brigade. We are truthful to our voters. We said all along we are not going to be part of an ANC government that is led by Cyrill Ramaphosa. For that reason, we have nothing to do with the GNU, and today we launched our own forum, the progressive parties who are outside the GNU, trying to strengthen our own opposition.
Were there any aspects of the 3 priority areas the President spoke about that you were happy about as the MK when you look at the issue of beneficiation of the raw minerals?
Well, I know he's not telling the truth. He hasn't done it all along. Why would he start doing it now? What makes you think he would start doing it now? He has been in power for more than 5 years. Why would he start making that now?
What are some of the key priority areas do you as the MK party when it comes to the debate next week that you will be pushing across?
What we need is an agrarian revolution in this country. Agriculture is there. What we need is land that must be made available to our people. It will solve so many of our problems. It's an agrarian revolution that is needed. And also we need to develop infrastructure, particularly in rural areas. We live in rural areas. I don't think Ramaphosa has been to any rural area.
Thank you.
He's a man who lives in the city. You can see him. And I don't know who prepared the speech for him.
Who do you think prepared the speech?
Well, it was very clear it's the DA. That's why white South Africans were applauding when he was talking. It's the DA.